Hey everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Rhythm. Get ready for an artist spotlight.
Yay!
That's going to take us right into the heart of the San Francisco music scene.
Absolutely.
We're featuring Tony Jazzo.
Oh yeah, Tony Jazzo.
Our producer and lyricist who is making a name for himself with his unique sound and impressive collaborations.
Really impressive.
We've got a great mix of sources for you today. We've got a bio that reads like a who's who of the San Francisco music scene, and a Q&A that gives us some real insight into Tony's creative process.
I love it.
So it's fascinating to see how Tony navigates those different generations and styles.
Well, yeah, I mean, his collaborations aren't just a list of names.
Right.
They really showcase his versatility as a producer.
You're right. I mean, look at who he's worked with. Ken Posey, John Alias, Dem Piranhas, the Trunk Boys.
Wow.
Each of those artists has a distinct sound.
Yeah.
And it seems like Tony's able to tap into their unique vibe while still bringing his own flavor to the mix. For example, his work with Ken Posey leans into that gritty, blues-infused hip-hop sound.
Yeah.
But then you hear his collaborations with the Trunk Boys, and there's this whole other layer of experimental electronic textures.
Exactly. You can tell he has a deep understanding of each artist's vision, and he doesn't just impose his style, he collaborates.
Right.
In a way that elevates the music.
Yeah.
And that connection to the San Francisco scene is so strong.
Oh, yeah.
Especially considering his upbringing in the Fillmore district.
The Fillmore.
Yeah.
What a legendary place for music.
Isn't it?
To grow up surrounded by that energy, that history of jazz, soul, and funk. I can only imagine how much that shaped Tony's musical DNA.
Absolutely. The Fillmore's musical legacy is so rich and diverse.
Yeah.
And Tony's childhood, there must have been like an immersion course in different genres and rhythms.
Right.
You can hear that influence in his music, those rhythmic choices, the melodic sensibilities, that effortless way he blends different genres.
It's like those Fillmore roots are woven into the fabric of his music. And then you add in his diverse influences from hip-hop icons like Run DMC and Queen Latifah.
Oh, yeah.
To later game changers like Jay-Z and Missy Elliott. It's an incredible blend of golden age hip-hop with those more experimental sounds that emerged in the late 90s.
What I find particularly interesting is how he manages to bridge those eras. You hear the lyrical prowess of Run DMC.
Yeah.
But there's also this adventurous approach to production that echoes Missy Elliott. You can hear it in those layered vocal samples, those unexpected sonic textures he uses to create such a dynamic sound.
Speaking of Missy Elliott, Tony actually mentions her in the Q&A. He talks about being drawn to her music videos, especially the weird stuff, as he calls it. I love how he embraces the visual side of music.
That's such a key aspect of hip-hop. It's never just about the sound.
Okay.
It's about the visuals, the attitude, the whole package.
Right.
And Missy Elliott is a master of pushing those boundaries.
Oh, for sure.
Using her videos to create these surreal, captivating narratives.
Right.
Tony seems to understand that connection. You can see it in his own videos. They're not just performances. They're mini-movies that extend the storytelling beyond the music.
He also talks about discovering his passion for music through playing piano and participating in hip-hop production programs.
Cool.
He says those experiences gave him a solid foundation in music theory and helped him connect with other aspiring artists.
That combination of formal training and community support can be so powerful.
Yeah.
For young musicians, it gives them the tools and techniques to develop their craft, but also a space to experiment, collaborate, and find their own voice.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect breeding ground for creativity.
Okay, here's where things get really interesting.
Right.
He described his songwriting process as a blend of structure and intuition. He starts by writing down his ideas like a thesis, very organized and deliberate. But then we'll start humming melodies and building upon these little jingles, as he calls them.
That's such a common approach to songwriting.
Yeah.
And it highlights the balance between intentionality and that spark of inspiration.
Right.
You need that lyrical blueprint, that clear idea of what you want to say. But then the music often comes from a more intuitive, feeling-based place.
Yeah.
The jingles he mentions are probably those catchy musical hooks that get stuck in your head.
Right.
The heart of a great song. It's so interesting how he talks about those melodies and hooks evolving. He doesn't just settle for the first idea. He's constantly experimenting, refining, building layers of sound.
It's like he's sculpting the music, shaping it until it captures the exact feeling he's trying to convey. And speaking of feeling, I'm really intrigued by his pre-recording rituals. He mentions hydration, food, meditation, and practice. It's like he's prepping for a marathon, not a recording session.
Well, in a way he is.
Wow.
Creative work requires a lot of energy focus and stamina. Especially in the high-pressure environment of a recording studio, those rituals are all about getting into the right headspace, making sure he's grounded, centered, and ready to pour his heart into the music.
I love that.
Yeah.
It shows a real dedication to his craft and a deep understanding of the creative process. I actually have my own little rituals before I sit down to write. I find that having a cup of tea and listening to some ambient music really helps me clear my mind and get into a creative flow. What about you? Do you have any pre-work rituals?
Oh, absolutely. For me, it's all about getting out into nature. A walk in the park, a hike in the woods, anything to disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with myself. It's amazing how much clarity and inspiration I find when I step away from the screen and immerse myself in the natural world.
That's beautiful. It's so important to find those practices that help us tap into our creativity, whatever they may be. And for Tony, it seems like technology also plays a big role in this process. He mentions using his phone constantly for note-taking, experimenting with lyrics, and even recording rough demos.
It's a testament to how accessible music creation has become in the digital age. Smartphones have essentially become portable studios, allowing artists to capture those fleeting moments of inspiration wherever they strike. Tony's not tied to a specific location or equipment. He can create music anywhere, anytime.
It's like that creative spark can now be captured and nurtured instantly. It's exciting to think about how this technology is empowering a whole new generation of musicians. But Tony is also very honest about the challenges of being an independent artist, especially when it comes to things like promotion and marketing.
That's a huge hurdle. For independent artists, they're often wearing multiple hats, creating the music, handling the business side, promoting themselves, all without the support of a big label or a dedicated team.
He mentions that he doesn't have a street team or PR support, which are so crucial for getting your music out there and building a fan base.
Those roles are essential in the music industry, and it takes a lot of hustle and resourcefulness for independent artists to make up for that lack of support. It's a constant grind, but Tony seems to be navigating it with a lot of determination and a clear vision for his music.
And that vision extends beyond just creating catchy tunes. He talks about wanting to use his music to offer knowledge, self-help, and solutions to everyday problems. It's like he sees music as a platform for something bigger than himself.
That's where the true power of music lies. Its ability to connect with people on a deep emotional level, to inspire, uplift, and offer guidance. Tony's desire to use his music for these purposes speaks to his authenticity and his commitment to making a positive impact on the world.
It's really inspiring to see an artist who's not just focused on fame or fortune, but on using his platform to make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, he's also running his own record label, Jazzo.
That's a testament to his entrepreneurial spirit and his desire to create a space for other artists to thrive. It's not just about his own success. It's about fostering a community, supporting other musicians, and building something lasting in the San Francisco music scene.
That's so admirable. It's like he's paying it forward, creating opportunities for others while also pursuing his own artistic vision.
It's a beautiful cycle of creativity and collaboration, and it's inspiring to see someone like Tony leading the way.
As we've been talking about Tony's journey, I keep coming back to that image of him as a kid, banging on pots and pans in the Fillmore district. It's like that early spark of creativity, that raw passion for music, has been the driving force behind everything he's accomplished.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that musical journeys can begin anywhere from the most humble beginnings to formal training. What matters is nurturing that passion, honing your craft, and staying true to your vision. And Tony Jazzo is a shining example of what can happen when you do just that. It's amazing to see how those early experiences in the Fillmore, combined with his diverse influences, have shaped his sound.
But you hear it all in his music.
Yeah.
The echoes of jazz and soul, the lyrical wordplay of East Coast hip-hop, the sonic adventures of artists like Missy Elliott. He's taken all those elements and created something that's uniquely his own.
And it's not just about the sound, it's about the message behind the music.
Yeah.
He's talked about wanting to offer knowledge, self-help, and solutions to everyday problems through his lyrics.
Right. It's a really interesting approach.
It speaks to the power of music to be more than just entertainment.
Yeah.
It can be a tool for education, for personal growth, for social commentary.
Yeah.
Tony seems to understand that potential, and he's using his platform to create something meaningful and impactful.
I think that's what makes him such a compelling artist. He's not just chasing trends or trying to fit into a box.
Right.
He's got a vision, a purpose, and he's using his music to express that in a way that connects with people.
And that connection is so important.
Yeah.
It's what sets apart artists who are truly making a difference.
Right.
It's about building a community, inspiring others, and leaving a lasting legacy.
And he's running his own record label, collaborating with other artists, and constantly pushing himself creatively.
Yeah.
It's clear that he's in it for the long haul.
He's building something sustainable, something that goes beyond just one hit song or one album.
Right.
He's creating a movement, a community of artists who are all striving to elevate the art form and make a positive impact.
It's inspiring to see an artist who's so committed to his craft and his community.
Yeah.
I think Tony Jazzo is a name we'll be hearing a lot more of in the years to come.
Absolutely. He's a true innovator, a visionary, and a force to be reckoned with in the San Francisco music scene and beyond. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out his music. You won't be disappointed.
So if you're looking for music that's fresh, thought-provoking, and sonically adventurous, Tony Jazzo is definitely an artist to add to your playlist.
And remember, his journey is a reminder that musical inspiration can come from anywhere, and that with passion, hard work, and a little bit of hustle, anything is possible.
That's a great point. And that's it for our Artist Spotlight on Tony Jazzo. This episode of Behind the Rhythm was produced by Ant Taylor for the Bay Play Radio Network. Please come back next week for an exciting new Artist Spotlight.